Okay, welcome back. So we were talking about parameters, and I was saying if we ran this, we wouldn't understand what was going on because there was no output. So what I'm going to do is in my header file, I'm going to, above the class declaration, I am going to implement what is called a log. So I'm going to say my general log. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be utilizing a Unreal Engine log. So we're going to be displaying messages in our own log category, and we can do all sorts of different stuff with this. But for now, what we're going to do is we're just going to say, in all caps, we're going to say declare underscore log category underscore extern. Now this takes three things. I'm going to call it my log. Oops. And it's going to be a log. And okay, so you can't see this, but if you were typing this as me, as I am, you would get a little pop-up box showing you a parameter, and what this is actually doing. This is a macro. This is a macro function, and what we're doing is we are declaring a log category as a C++ external. Now you don't have to know what that means, but essentially we're utilizing three different things. We're creating a category name. We are telling this macro what the default verbosity is. So my log is the category name. Log is the default verbosity. And now this third parameter is the compile time verbosity. So there is a default default runtime verbosity, and there is a maximum verbosity to compile into the code. And we're going to just say all. We want all of the compile time verbosity, and we want the default verbosity to be log. Now this requires a semicolon because it is a macro function, not a macro method. So this is how you declare a log category. So in our C++ file, above our implementation of stuff, we are going to implement our log category. So we are going to say my general log, and we're going to say all caps define underscore log underscore category. And this is also a macro function, so it requires a semicolon, but we dictated it to be named my log, so my log must be defined. So we define my log. So let's save all. And so this is how you implement, this is how you define or declare, and this is how you implement it. So how do we actually get something to print in our output log? So what we'll do is above here, so I'm going to do a single line comment, and I'm just going to type in the actual log message format so I can have it here, because I always forget how to implement these and run them. So what I like to do is I like to create a comment of a default message, and I will then copy this without having to retype it every time. So our default log is also a macro function, so it requires a semicolon. we will need my log because we need to, we will need to tell the Unreal Engine log which log category we want our log to log to. We will use a warning, and we will use text. This is a text macro. It allows us to specify a string of characters. So in all caps we'll say text, and since and this text is a macro, so it's a macro method, and it does not require a semicolon. And also it's a parameter of this Unreal Engine log, so it doesn't require a semicolon anyways because it is part of a parameter. So what we're going to do is inside the text curly brackets, we're just going to say def mess. Default message. So I'm going to copy this, and in here I'm going to put one of these guys, and you can see my log. You can see what type of category we're telling the compile. So remember when we were talking about the verbosity? This warning, we're telling it to be a warning, and we are dictating what the message will actually be. So my log, it will be a warning message saying this is a default message, and actually I'm going to say hello world because that is essentially the beginners. Everybody creates a hello world, and I feel like we should create a hello world message just because it's going to say hello world because whenever the game starts, if the actor is in our level, or when the actor is spawned, it will say hello world because it's spawning. Okay, so now since we are working with booleans, we're able to, or any variable type, you can tell the string I would like to print out a variable's value. So what I'll do is I'll say this, but I'm going to say be my bool equals. Now I'm going to do this 3 times because we have 3 variables. Okay. Now, in order to get a value, I'm not sure if there's a specific type of operator to get out of Boolean, but we can do it by utilizing a string. So if I were to say %s, what this % says, it's an operator. And whenever the compiler gets to this, it's going to look at this little value and be like, hey, I need something to print out. So what we'll do is after this we'll say be my bool. And so what this s is saying, this %s is saying, hey, come over here and grab this. Now this is actually for a string. To log an int, it uses D. To log a float, it's F. To log a vector is also S. And to log a bunch of stuff, you would just go, you would have many of these in the thing. So what we could actually do is, and what I will do right now is I will create one of these above this, and I will show you how to do a multiple variable. So let's and then back here you might already figured out that we are going to just put these guys on there. So by each one of these, it will go to the first parameter back here. So my bool will take the first parameter after text. The second one will take the second parameter. The third one will take the third, so on and so forth. So now that we have that out of the way, let's go and implement the rest of them. So you can see the single lines and the multiple lines. So now if we were to print this out, we would get hello. If we were running the program, it would print hello world. It would print the values of all of our variables in a single line, and then it would print them out each individual line. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy this guy, and I'm going to put it under the first one. So my method is telling my Boolean to being equal to whatever we passed in. So when we run this, we'll see what's actually happening. But so I'm going to put another one under there, and this time we're going to say my bool 3 because we want to print out this value, and the second one we're going to print out my bool and my bool 3 because we are returning my Boolean 3 from my bool. So we'll look at the default values, then we'll look at my methods, what happened to my bool after it's changed, and also what I'll do is I will go up here and I'll take this message and I will put this above each one of them, and I'll say my method. I'm going to copy this guy again and put it under this guy, and this will be my, or well actually it will be my function default parameter. And then we will go one more, and we will say my function given parameter. So this may look like a mouthful, and it probably is, but let's compile, see if we got any errors, and we'll look at the log and see what happens. Sorry guys, my computer isn't the greatest, so sometimes it takes a little while to compile. And no, you cannot donate to me to get a better computer. I'm not gonna allow that because I've already been asked if there was any way for people to donate to my tutorials, and this is me being awesome and providing these free. If you guys want to show your support, just subscribe to my channel and enjoy the videos. So there were build errors. There was a single error, and it says my function redefinition of default parameter. Ah, interesting. So I actually work in an older version of C++. I don't know that they have changed this. So we actually don't need to redefine the default parameter to being false. We just need to tell it that there is a parameter in the implementation, since we've already defined it here. Now, this is actually probably the wrong way of doing it. We should probably put this here instead of it being in the header. So, and actually no, let me build cancel. I'm actually going to keep this definition in the header. Sorry, I'm a little mixed up on what I'm supposed to be doing here. Everybody makes mistakes. So I'm going to keep the implementation clear of the default parameter, but I just wanted to make sure that there's a parameter inside the implementation. Okay, good. It's linked, it's compiled, it's all ready to go. Alright, great. So now, when we run this, and we open up our output log, because we have defined a log category to be an external log, and we're going to be logging it to the output window in warning, which warning is a color, essentially. I believe warning is yellow, and you can tell if you want a specific regular log, if a log color, by telling this bit to be log instead of warning. You can also put an error as, which will be red text, and you could put error here instead of log or warning. Log is gray, warning is yellow, and error is red. And I probably should have implemented each one of these to show you, but that's okay. Let's open up the editor that just opened. So let's find the C++ class that we created, my actor. Let's put one of these bad boys in the level, and we'll play it. Not sure exactly what's going on. It's kind of frozen here. I am still recording though, so the computer hasn't froze. It just might have done something wonky. Oh, it crashed. What does it say? Begin play, my actor, line 30. So let's look at the 30. So it looks like it crashed from this line. Let's look at this again and see if there's any other lines that it might have actually crashed from. Let's give Epic a detailed information about what we were doing or when the crash occurred. We ran an actor that printed variables. I can't spell variables, but that's fine. To the console output log. Actually, it's not a console, it's just the output log. We ran an actor that printed variables to the output log. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to comment these three out. And I'm going to send that guy. And I'm going to rerun this. Now it should be a fast compile and a fast run since it's already recompiled. Or since it's already got a... Oh no, it won't hot reload. Okay, so, well, actually it's pretty fast this time, so that's good. So when we go back in there, I'm going to open up the output log and we'll try and figure out what's actually happening. Oh, you know what? Now that I think about it, I believe a %S, since it's going to be logging an F string, I think we need to pass in it as a reference. Because the log uses tcar pointers. And we're not going to get into pointers just yet, but we will. So let's... You know what I'm going to do actually? I'm going to create a blueprint class. We're going to go down to all classes. Inside actor, we're going to find my actor. We're going to select that guy and we're going to say my actor underscore BP. So let's save that. Let's look in our thing to make sure that there's not already an actor in the world, which there's not because it did not get to save. Let's file save all. Let's put that guy in there. Let's go to Window, Developer Tools, Output Log. Okay. You can see warnings. You can see logs. And let's see if there's an error. I don't believe there will be, but okay. Well, there would be the yellow text is warnings. The gray text is logs, and if there were red text in here, it would be an error. So let's save this, and hopefully we can play this without crashing. Now I think it crashed again. It did. So let's look at the crash error, and we'll see what happened. My actor, line 34. Okay, right. So, what am I doing wrong here? Because it's not crashing on line 28, it's crashing on line 34. Maybe because of this line. So let's pass it in. Let's pass these three variables as references. And let's see if it crashes on this line. Tried to run an actor who prints out F strings to the output window. Tried to run an actor who prints out F strings to the output window using a declared log. Can't spell declared, but that's okay. They'll understand what they're talking about. There were build errors. Let's see what the build errors were. Oh, because it was running in the background. So let's rerun that. And hopefully, since this line, because illegal indirection. Okay. Let's try D for as an integer, because we can figure out what true and false is by 1 and a 0. So hopefully that will help us out, and we won't need to indirectly reference it. So let's save this, Control F5. I probably didn't need to send those error reports, because I think I realized what I was trying to do, and that's not allowed, is you trying to tell the compiler I wanted to print a message from a certain thing that was not actually an F string, and it was trying to convert whatever it was into an F string. But hopefully when we go in here, okay, it did save our variable guy. So let's hopefully run this and it won't. Okay, perfect. So let's go over here. First, you know what? I'm gonna turn off the sound to the editor. So let me go in here and mute the editor. Okay. Now, when we're in here in the game, so I'm going to press escape. I'm gonna go File, Developer Tools, Output Log. And we can see that our warning logs. So it says hello world, and actually what I'll do is I will pop this out, expand it. Well, that's not what I wanted to do, but okay. We'll do it this way, and I will minimize that guy, but I will, oh, what I wanted to do was this, and then drag that guy out of the way, so we can look at what's going on. So let's actually go down further. Let's find our output log. Okay. So, alright. So it's saying hello world. It's showing us our booleans outputting their default values that we have initialized them to. So 1 and 2 were both. Ooh, interesting. Bool equals false. That's right. That should be 0. But Boolean 2 is also false. That's not right. My bool 2. Okay, so what I'm going to do equals true semicolon, and let's put that guy in a new line. Let's look at the output log again. I noticed that I didn't actually tell the output window what these bools were, so let's change that real quick. We are talking to my bool 3. Well, we're not talking to it, but we want to print out what it is so we can see what it is. 3, my bool, okay. Alright. And this is actually my bool 2, and this is actually my bool 2. No, that's my bool, and that's my bool. But what we'll do is we'll do a second one above this saying the default. Well, no, we won't need to because it's above here. So let's get rid of these guys because we don't need them, because we found out that it was the operator trying to convert it to a F string when it was a Boolean. So we are converting a Boolean into an integer by this, which is going to see a 0 and a 1. 0 for false, 1 for true. If you've ever looked at the back of your power supply, the switch has a 0 and a 1. And 0 means that it's off, and a 1 means it's on. So that's just a little bit of information for you. Kind of give you an idea. Booleans are a switch. They can only be on or off. So let's close this guy. Let's press Control F5, which I believe since there's, oh yeah, we did edit it a little bit, so it will recompile. So yeah. Oh, sorry, that was my chair. So, window, developer tools, output log. As you can see, there's nothing here yet. So what we'll do is we'll actually go down here and press that guy down there so we can see it when we play. When we play, let's go down here. We can see that it's actually working as intended. So what we'll do is we'll drag this guy over here, we'll scroll down, and let's look at what this is saying. So here's our hello world message. It's telling us that our bool is 0, our bool 2 is 1, and our bool 3 is 1. So false, true, true. Okay, now method. Method is getting boolean 2 passed into it and setting boolean 1 to whatever it's passed in. So now, after my method, boolean is now 1 because boolean 2 value is 1 or true. Now boolean our bool is now true. Okay, so now you can see how that method is working. We have our my function next, which we are telling my function without a default, or no, I'm sorry, this is the default parameter. So in here our default is false. So when we look at this, our bool 3 was true and now it's false. So let's look at the given parameter. Let's go back to the implementation, bring up our output log, and we are looking at my bool. So my bool was true. Oops, my bool was true. We were passing in my bool to the function and sending that returned value to my bool 3. So my bool 3 was 0 and my bool was true and my bool 3 was false. And when we give that parameter, when we give that function a parameter and we return that value, my bool is still 1, but now my bool 3 is now true. So you can see what's going on, and that is great because it did what we wanted to do. So I realize that this video is extremely long because of the crashes and stuff, but I'm extremely sorry for that. I guess I don't know as much as I thought I did, but hey, that's what life is all about. It's all about learning, and I just learned something. So what we'll do is we'll continue on, and in the next video we'll talk about functions and multiple return values.